into the, you are now tuned into the, you are now tuned into the Fraudcast.
I think quarantine got people on top of everything else.
Yeah. So couples therapy instead of tell-all.
Yeah.
With Rebecca as a therapist, or
No. Rebecca was part of the ones needing therapy, but
yeah, for sure.
I felt bad because, of course, the tell-all we wanted voice.
You gotta start your voice in the morning.
Voice. Okay.
There you go.
I've been slowly losing it because I've been talking a lot. So bear with me. I'm fine. Jeez, it's just like running out the window. Like, bye.
Bye-bye. You don't need your voice.
I like how they went through the extra effort of making sure we knew that, yes, they recorded this during the time of COVID. We're saying that like this, the time of
the time
was that movie?
Love in the time of cholera.
Yes. 90 Day Fiance in a time of COVID is exactly what this is. But like making sure we see if they have face shields and masks.
Oh,
and they're
I
all
know.
distanced. And I'm just like, I get it. I appreciate
it. You guys are being proper.
I'm pretty sure they didn't want to catch any shit for it either. Like, oh, they brought them all on the tell-all. They're going to spit on each other. You know.
To spit on each other.
But my goodness, this wasn't even like, it wasn't even like dramatic. Like we're used to seeing, they're probably told like not to, touch each other. But this is nothing like, seeing Angela try to slap people around with her sandal or something. It's like.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think so far what they've talked about has been nice. Like in the sense that like, I feel like, not that we're ever going to get a tell all, because Sean is just as much a part of the cast as everything else. Her stuff is scripted too. So for everyone who says Sean's a terrible host, she's just
every host will have the same note cards. I think we just we're pointing our frustration at the person, and it happens to be Sean because she's there.
Yeah, people are like somebody else should host, and it's just it doesn't matter who hosts it.
I mean, it could be refreshing. I do like Sean, but I mean, there is the kind of like, I get tired of seeing her now.
Now that we watch Bears All and this and that.
On multiple shows, but that's fine. It's fine. But like this tell-all felt...
that they brought out a lot of stuff. Like they brought on Jovi's mom when they had Jovi and Yara.
Right.
And they had... I think they did Yara dirty when they brought out all this like the lie detector stuff and surprise her with all of that stuff. Like that's, she's a new mom. She's got probably hot hormones. And like, that's just like, don't like surprise her with that on the air.
Well, they like to surprise him with that. That's the reason why they brought him on Bears All to do the bullshit lie detector, which I saw a lot of people saying that the lie detector guy probably didn't administer it right.
Yeah. No, there's very specific protocols. I've actually done them.
And like he didn't do the warm up and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's
we don't know what was in the background, but there's certain specific things you're supposed to do to get a baseline, right?
Right.
And so I'm kind of
they go over the questions ahead of time, and there's like, and then they go through it multiple times. Yeah, I had to do it for a job, and when I worked in law enforcement, and so it's not scientific, but and then they brought on his mom, and she was like, yeah, no, I wanted to shake him. And it was like, it's kind of refreshing to see some stuff that I didn't expect in that sense. Does that make sense? Like I didn't have it all scripted in my head ahead of time.
Right. No, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. I felt bad because I think with those two is that she'll be mad at him and she'll let him know I'm mad at you, but she also is kind of like, oh, what am I going to do? It's like the past, and
right. Which is true. I mean, the past.
Remember
is the past.
how awesome he is now. Remember how he got shit on the face with his own baby. So your baby will make sure karma is applied accurately.
I feel like that's the case too. Yeah. Did you get the sense that, he's talking about how he changed the diaper or whatever? that he's getting like applause and kudos for doing the bare fucking minimum. Did you get that sense, or do you get the sense that he's actively involved in?
I think that, and I know how that's a triggering thing of guys getting a pat on the back for doing what we expect women to do. Like no one goes, oh my God, honey, you changed that diaper. I'm so proud of you. You woke up when the baby. No, I think honestly, like he's actually fucking shocked that he did it too. I think that even he's just like, holy shit, I actually changed the diaper. Like I leveled up in life.
Yeah. And I feel like Yara's not going to let him get away with quote unquote babysitting his own kid. You know?
No, I could see her kicking his ass out of the bed, telling him to go take care of it. Yeah. So I think that they are just fine. They actually almost seem like the healthiest couple on the stage. That's saying a lot. I think them, and then like Rebecca and Zia, maybe, I don't know, that Yara and Jovi actually seem like the more healthy couple.
They do, and it seems to be, you know, there was a lot of stuff that was played up for the cameras, not necessarily made up, but just played up, I think, you know, for his storyline, the way that the edit came out. Right. But I think a lot of it is just who they are too, because, you know, with Jovi's mom saying, no, I wanted to shake him. Like he was being ridiculous at that bachelor party. Like, why? You've had 12 years of being a bachelor. Like, why do you have to have the night before you fly to Vegas? Like, that's ridiculous. So we know that it wasn't completely made up. Like that's sort of who he is, but it also does seem like he has leveled up in life. Like he's gotten his shit somewhat together. I personally think that his 7 months being away, or however long it was that he was away during quarantine when he got stuck out of the country, I feel like that was probably a big wake up call for him. You know, like he actually really missed Yara and missed being a husband. And he kind of like, you know, when he came back, it was like, he got to like, he had missed what he didn't like. He had maybe taken it for granted, didn't really realize how much he was embracing that lifestyle with her until he was away from it for so long and didn't get to be there with her. It probably was
exhausting to hear what Yara was going through and probably just going like, I just need to get home.
Yeah, just be there. Just to like, I mean, obviously he can't take any of the pregnancy away from her, but to have the support of your partner is huge. I mean, I didn't have the support of my partner because he was in another country.
Right. And they knew like that not trying to say you knew he'd be gone, but
so you have to deal with it. Yeah, no, it's still going to suck.
But they did know that he would have to travel, which is why they got married so soon. Right. So that,
yeah. I think it made them appreciate, they certainly made them appreciate each other. And while they may not have felt necessarily ready to get married and have a baby when they did, I think, you know, they really do love each other. And that time apart, that unexpected time apart really made them kind of miss each other. So
we'll hope so.
Yeah. Can we talk about Rebecca and Ziad since we mentioned them already?
Sure.
She revisited on the show the lunch with her daughter and her daughter's cute blonde friend, who was offering to help Ziad move. Now, are you team Rebecca or team Tiffany, where the girl was totally flirting or she was totally not flirting? Because Rebecca was absolutely adamant, right?
I'm somewhere in the middle, but more towards Rebecca's side, just because you kind of know. Like there's like, I was thinking like maybe she was just kind of being paranoid, like thinking if this younger woman was hitting on Ziad, would he make a move back kind of thing. And then, but her friend would kind of know what her behaviors are better than Rebecca would. Right. They probably have gone out together. She's probably seen her actually flirting with people. But the whole like offering to move is a total.
I think it was inappropriate. But
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing too, is Tiffany says later during the thing that she said, like, I wouldn't say we tested Ziad, but we tested Ziad. You know, I was wondering, did she put her friend up to that?
Right. That's what I was wondering too, like to see if he would. I don't know, take her number and call. And I'm like, that's kind
Right.
of shitty to do, but
I feel like
I understand where they're coming from doing it,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. They seemed happy together. I mean, they seemed well adjusted. He and his, I like eat pizza. I felt that. I felt
Right.
that. I had pizza last night and I ate a ton of it. But it was all cauliflower crust, so I felt like it's okay. And I ran a 5K yesterday, so I was like, it's okay. It fit within my macros, or as we call them in this house, acros.
Acros, oh my God.
I think Baby Step Rod had said it. She heard us say macros because, like, I'm obsessed with all my macros and stuff right now because I'm working to lose weight and everything. And we said something about macros, and she's like, "What are acros?" And so, I have to look and see if things fit.
It's those pain in the ass things that we have to count because no one told us to.
Macros, for those of you guys who don't know, it's not just counting calories anymore. It's calories, carbs, fat, and protein. And those are all, those are all like, you don't just like, I'm counting calories, because you have to count all of the things now as the news thing.
Well, the whole thing is that you want to count the larger categories of things that are going to provide you with the most energy. And so that's your protein, carbs, and fats. So when you're counting your macros, you're counting the grams of proteins, carbs, and fat that you're consuming within the window that you've allowed yourself.
Right.
And et cetera. And I've lived that life for way too long.
Yeah. I have a weight loss coach, weight loss, fitness, strength coach, like all of that. And she set my macros for me, like what my calorie intake should be for the day. So to maintain a calorie deficit, and then what percentage each of those categories should be within that. And so,
right. And it's interesting that you bring that up, because we're talking about Rebecca and Ziad, and we're talking about the work that she's had done.
Right. Which I'm all for, in addition to counting your acros.
Which sparked a little bit of a kind of argument between the ladies.
Was hilarious.
I was like, oh my God. So this really changed the opinion of a lot of people's opinion of Julia.
Yes.
Like, holy shit, she's a bitch.
She's
like, I get her view, but it came off as really naive. Like,
well, and it came across as judgmental and bitchy too.
But her thought of like, I'm sorry, she's so young, and until she can put herself in an aged body,
right,
there's almost no room for her to talk on it.
Yeah, but she's so young, she doesn't know what she doesn't know,
She'll get there, especially after having kids and then going, wow, exercise isn't getting rid of the fucking stretch marks.
Just go to gym club.
That you should be proud of, but if you don't like them, there are ways to remove them so you may be happy. And no one should judge you on whether you do it or not. But those are just some things I think as she lives a little bit more. Because I hate to do the whole thing. You're young, you don't know. But I think in this case, she
doesn't
quite understand what Rebecca did. Yeah, I'm like, what Rebecca did was something you do because gravity, age, and being overweight all work against you after a very long time.
Yeah, and metabolism and other health factors and all kinds of that situation. And
I'm sure
you
that
can
she
do
wanted
both
it quickly,
too.
right? You can do both. And I'm hoping that she is working on the health of her organs as well as doing that, because, the procedure isn't going to make you healthy. It's just going to make you look better.
I mean, you absolutely can do both, I think. I ran a 5K yesterday, but I also recovering from my second round of Kybella. So, you can do both. There's nothing wrong with that, I think. And Rebecca having, she's a grandmother, she's had kids and, her age and all this stuff. And so, I mean, poor Julia, she didn't know.
It's fine. She's going to have a review, and unfortunately, it came off as really judgmental.
It did.
And sometimes it's like your opinion is great, but what else is about Rebecca? Oh, the good thing about her procedure is that this is the only thing that no one can point out that her ex had or seen? That's exactly what Ziad's saying. So he's getting like this, like, I don't know, never before
Rebecca.
seen model of Rebecca.
Yeah.
And he'll just be like, oh, isn't that the same body you had with your ex, Rebecca?
He's the same vagina you have.
What the fuck? I hate that woman. The friend that was in the condo. Or he'll say ex-friend because I don't think they're talking.
Yeah, I don't think they talk anymore.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Because there was speculation, because I mean, she wasn't part of the tell-all, and I don't want to talk too much about her, but even Angela, because people were pointing out that the next tell-all is going to be with Julia for Happily Ever After. We'll have Julia and Angela, who's got like an entire, I don't know, soul lift.
You know, hey, if she, I am all for it.
And there won't be any COVID, so you know, Angela would probably feel free to know.
Angela would squash Julia. Like
sit
Julia's
down,
so tiny.
Can we just hope that Michael's actually gonna fucking get over here? I'm really tired of their Skype relationship. I think they are. Like everyone else has come over.
Yeah,
seriously.
well, I mean, maybe with the new, I'm not getting political, but with the new political administration, I know some of the bans, some of the various country bans have been lifted. So maybe Nigeria will be on that list, or maybe, you know, with immigration policy changes, as happens with every new administration, maybe there'll
makes sense.
Be some changes there.
We'll see.
I think a lot of it is still up in the air as far as how that policy goes. I've got several friends who actually work for the DOJ immigration division. So a lot of them still don't know what their directives are as far as stuff. But in any case, yeah, I would like to see Michael over here. You know, poor guy's been put through enough. I think a lot of people feel that Michael has more than earned his green card over here, but I'd like to see them together.
It's just to the point where it's like, come on now.
Yeah.
It's getting a little bit much.
Yeah. There was something else that, with Julia, since we were talking about Julia, she was all judgmental about strippers. So she was trying to say, no, I'm not judgmental about strippers. Like, they're fine. They're people, you know, being that she's a go-go dancer, you know, similar category, not the same, but similar. Go-go dancers keep all their clothes on. And I don't know what they're like in Russia. But then she turned to Brandon and was like, yeah, but if you go to strip club, I'm going to kill you.
I think it's because she just knows what happens at strip clubs.
Okay.
And yes, if my significant other goes and I don't want him to go, yeah, I would kill you too. It doesn't mean that the people working there are like untouchables. You know, they're probably there for available men who should be looking and touching. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or you're saying you can men that have permission.
Right. So you're saying you can separate it. Like, you can still not be judgmental against strippers and still don't want your partner to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
As the phrase goes, some of my best friends are strippers.
Right.
No, when I used to spend a lot of time when I was younger at a strip club, because I did have a friend that stripped. And I went there as kind of like her support.
Okay.
I also got a lot of fucking homework done there. I don't know if it was the atmosphere or just nobody fucking bugging me, but like I got so much work done.
I guess that'd be true, because like the guys would leave you alone because they're looking at the stage. And
exactly.
You could just sit and enjoy, maybe have a drink.
I got offered a job a few times. I was like, I could, no, but I think the waitress position was really just a conduit to get you on the stage.
Right.
People would joke, but it really is true in most cases. Like, they'll start you off there and then they get you on the floor and then they're like, we'll entertain them. And then they're like, would you try to get on the stage?
Well, do you remember Chelsea, the stripper we had on our Patreon?
Yes.
And she said, what do you call a waitress at a strip club after she's been there 2 weeks? A stripper, yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes it's that, you know, they see everyone else doing it and it feels like they could too. It kind of rubs off on them. But
it's their way to get their feet wet by getting the, you know, by being a waitress and seeing, okay, what is it like in here? What's the atmosphere like?
And so I think Julia doesn't look down on strippers. I think Yara kind of does. I think she sees them as dirty, and it could be what strippers were maybe where she's from, I'm not sure, but yeah,
Mhm.
she sees him as dirty. Especially after the friend saying that, Jovi had strippers peeing in his bed and shit. I mean,
Right.
it's kind of like I wouldn't trust him with them either.
well,
Knowing
she
that he
has said
has a
other
thing for
things.
strippers, I
Yeah.
wouldn't want him to be in a strip club where those things are around.
She has she said other things, I think, either on Bears All or earlier in the season that made it seem like she didn't approve of strippers in general. I don't know if it's in general or if it's a Jovi specific stripper hatred, because he does have this penchant for strippers. And so maybe looking at she conflates sort of strippers, are because Jovi likes to indulge with strippers in a way. So you know what I mean? If there was no
Mhm.
connection, if Jovi didn't have this history of sleeping with strippers and the things that he does, then maybe she wouldn't care at
Or maybe
all.
if he wasn't like having fucking bachelor parties every fucking night,
right at a strip club,
she probably would have been like, okay, yeah, this is a special night. But they're
Go
both
out,
just
have
kind of
fun,
like,
yeah.
you've been doing this. So
yeah.
they're interesting folks.
Yeah. Who else story did we get?
We had before we dive into Mike and Natalie, we had no, which one should we do? Hazel and
they were so
we
boring.
we didn't get into the more fun part with them, so we can just hit them off. Like they're doing this from separate rooms and
because somebody was exposed to COVID and they're isolating themselves from each other. Yeah.
Tariq made it feel like it's because they were arguing and had to.
Yeah.
Was it really
just coincidental? Hey, look at that. Like,
I was like, do you have tea?
Oh God, no,
really
I don't. I don't have any tea, but he did make it sound like they were, sort of fighting and taking some space from each other. Maybe it was just at a good time, like they got the COVID exposure. It was just a good excuse.
I feel like Hazel, they probably weren't there maybe because of that, but I think
like they couldn't travel or something. Yeah.
They were really, really cautious about COVID. And I wonder if maybe one of them has underlying conditions that,
right.
And then Tariq has his daughter
Mm-hmm.
that he probably doesn't want to possibly bring that home to. I don't know their living situation. I'm assuming they just didn't film her very often, which I'm in total agreement with kids now. Now my view has changed.
It's one of those things when it's your own. When you have your own,
you see your own kid, you're like, actually, second thought, no more.
Yeah.
But I think that
although Grayson was adorable, he was adorable on camera, even though he had strep throat.
It's so much work though. It's so much mental. It's so taxing mentally.
Yeah, poor kid.
I think that it was good that they separated the two because I think Hazel will speak a little bit more if Tariq isn't sitting by her.
Yeah. She didn't speak. I'd be surprised if she said 5 words during this whole thing, right? Like we haven't gotten into their story yet. Although Tariq sure had some opinions about other people's stories.
Oh my gosh. You're selfish, says the man who wants to have this. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. You sit there in your glass house.
I feel like they were like messy. I'm like, Tariq, say something. He's like, but I'm no better than these fools.
So, okay. We didn't get a lot from them, but I guess this weekend we will. And they showed the scene that we've seen 100,000 times now too, of the preview of Andrew and Amira, which I want to touch on before we get into Mike and Natalie, because there's a lot there. But so, we've seen this over and over. They've shown this scene ad nauseum where Amira says she'll do the tell-all via Zoom or whatever, and only if she doesn't have to see or talk to Andrew.
Right.
And then Andrew throws this like giant baby fit about not being able to control the situation. And he wants to be able to dictate that he gets to sit there and talk to Amira, because we know he would talk down to her and gaslight her and do all the things that he's been doing to her. And then when he doesn't get his way, he storms out and threatens to leave. And, production's like, well, we'll check. We'll see if she can change her mind. But, and honestly, I think most of us were all just go, bye. Like, we don't care.
It was
But
more
I
like,
guess we'll
why
see that.
making such a big deal about it? I think it was because he didn't want to not be there, letting her tell any of the story. Because you've noticed how, like I said in the past, he has rushed out to get ahead of everything, to make sure that when she says something, he's already contradicted it.
Yeah.
And so he has done these explosions of messages to prove his point ahead of the tell-all.
Which don't prove anything, but that's a whole other
I'm
thing.
like, cool messages. I used to feed off of it, but it's like it's great, but I know what you can do with messages now.
Yeah.
Cut them off, leave them out, put them out of order,
You can
bring up
make
ones
fake
from like
text messages. Yeah.
years ago, maybe before you guys were even romantically involved, like, or were you part of this scam that you're trying to pull her, what I mean? There's so much.
Accuse her of, yeah.
But his like fit of like, well, fine, I'm just going to leave. And I'm like, the producers should have just told him to go.
Yeah.
Like the whole, I know they have to keep the show, but like, I don't beg people to stay when they say they're going to go.
You want to go? Bye.
Bye.
As I say on my Instagram, not an airport, don't need a departure announcement. So yeah, like I feel like, he couldn't control the situation. He had it in his mind how he wanted to do it because that's how he operates, is he controls the situation so he can gaslight people and be the one who has the upper hand in all the conversations. And having it set up this other way means he wouldn't have that control and upper hand. And so when he couldn't have his way, he didn't want to be a part of it, which just, I think, compounds his assholeness, the baby aspect of him.
Now, I do have to ask the question, do we think Amira is being a little too dramatic?
Possibly. It's not like she's sharing a stage or a couch with him,
like they even said that they could like not have him on camera, but like she has to know that he's going to end up hearing what she's saying. So it's not like it's going to be, but maybe she just doesn't want to interact. I don't know. I'm not going to say she was
to be interrupted. I say as I interrupt you.
Maybe. I mean, I'm trying to get on the other side, and I'm not trying to side with Andrew or her, but I feel like maybe something happened. It just felt like really dramatic of a step of the producers being like, we have to obey her wishes, as if there was a abuse case or something, or some reason why they shouldn't, like a restraining order. That's what it felt like. Like they had to respect restraining order rules or something, but this was just, you're in fucking France still.
Yeah.
You're very far away from him, and she's uncomfortable. And she has
didn't
anxiety.
Want to interact with him, which is fine. But they can do that with him not having left the stage.
Right. And I don't know how good her English is in processing it, but maybe, it's hard to try and think about what to say when someone's yammering at you in a different language.
Correct.
And, being crazy. So I don't know. I think they were both a little too dramatic about this.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see in he'll come back or some bullshit, or he'll record from the truck. Yeah.
Yeah. We know that. We'll see the rest of it. He won't pass up a chance to be in the spotlight and tell his story. He won't.
I know.
He won't pass that up. So
it's like, I love being on TV.
And being able to tell my side of the story because I'm such a nice guy.
No one cares. I know. He's like on the Reddit hashtag nice guys. That is exactly him. And he'll hear this and be like, you're a bitch. I don't care. If
he doesn't already think that about us, then whatever.
Hey, I'm pretty neutral. I gave him the benefit of the doubt until like the last of the last episodes. Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, actually, you remind me of an ex. And now I don't like you at all. So, it's been a couple months. Are you still using your recommended vitamins from Care of?
I am. In fact, I'm drinking a protein shake right now with the protein that they sent me because I am going to go work out after this.
Nice. Yeah, I took the online quiz and it was great. It recommended iron, and I'm historically iron deficient. So I was really happy that the questions that they ask really drilled down to identify what I needed. One of the best parts I really liked was being able to add additional vitamins if I wanted to at checkout. It didn't recommend it personally, but I know, as the rest of the world might, that I just need a little bit more D, little sunshine vitamin, little happiness, you know.
Don't we all? The online quiz had given me recommendations for protein powder, which I use in my protein shakes, and electrolytes for hydration, which I am historically very bad at drinking all the fluids that I need to. So having that extra boost has been really helpful.
I do like how they make it easy. All your recommended vitamins come in an individually wrapped packet. So, and even the powders come in packets that you can just rip and pour into your mouth, like I think the probiotic one that I picked out. I do like it because I can stick it in my purse. I can carry it upstairs in my office, and I can take them whenever I'm ready.
Yeah, they are definitely very convenient for that. And for Fraudcast listeners, you can get 50% off your first order with Care Of. So for 50% off your first Care Of order, go to takecareof.com and enter code Fraudcast50. That's takecareof.com and enter code Fraudcast50.
All right. So, let's take a moment for some real talk. We're in a pandemic now. I think we've been in it for like a year, actually, almost to the day.
Mm-hmm.
How are you? Like, what's, how are you doing? What's interfering with your happiness?
The biggest thing that I've been dealing with in the pandemic, particularly early on, but still now, is anxiety, which came out of the blue for me because anxiety is not one of my go-to issues. Other ones, yes, but anxiety, no. So I have actually had to take a step back and learn some new coping techniques and mechanisms to help me deal with anxiety.
Right. And I mean, even right now, seeking therapy is a normal thing, right? BetterHelp is a great, because I don't like traditional brick and mortar therapy. It doesn't work for my schedule. Like, I don't want to have to drive to it.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't feel comfortable in face-to-face. Like, I don't open up in face-to-face situations. So that's what's great about BetterHelp, is because it's not a crisis line. It's a professional counseling service provided online, and it's secure. There's licensed professionals who specialize in a variety of issues, including depression. And what I can relate to the most is stress, especially anxiety, because I'm juggling work. I'm a teacher. I do, homeschooling for my son every day, even the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to establish some kind of work-life balance, in a pandemic. It's really hard.
When everybody's working from home and everybody's all up in your space.
Exactly. And, one thing that, for me, security, I feel like anything I share will be confidential.
Well, absolutely. I mean, if they're professional counselors, then you get the same kind of professionalism, but at a much more convenient and even affordable way by doing it through BetterHelp. And we want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/fraudcast. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/fraudcast for 10% off your first month.
Can't.
Speaking of exes, Mike and Natalie.
Right. We don't know if they're exes or not.
We don't know what's happening.
Mike looks like he's slowly getting to the point where he just exists in the house and just sits there and slowly lets everything just happen. Like he looks defeated. He came in looking defeated.
Right. But she's not living there, right? Or is she? I mean, we had Bo saying that she moved out.
Now. I don't know. At the point of the tell-all, I would say they had to be, because they're doing happily ever after.
That's right.
Unless they're faking living together, which I don't think is the case. I know we saw pictures of her in Florida, but we also saw other people who were in Florida as well.
Right.
So who knows what the fuck for? Maybe they're filming the tell-all for happily ever after. I don't know.
Oh,
if they're that
interesting.
ahead.
That's right. Because we did see Brandon and Julia there. And who else was there? Who did they meet up with? They had lunch with or something?
I'm not entirely sure.
I totally forgot who was it Tariq and Hazel? Because they're in that mid Florida area too.
Yeah, I might have missed that Instagram post.
Hold on, let me see if I can find Julia.
But yeah, those two are interesting because I think they love each other.
Oh, Jovi and Yara were there.
Okay, so yeah, there's something happened in Florida, unless it was like a 90-day.
Oh
fiance.
no, that's them in Beverly Hills. There was, I swear to God, I thought I saw them in Florida with. Oh, well, okay.
I think I know what you're talking about. I just can't pin down who it was with.
Yeah,
my memory is not.
Yeah,
it's not diving into there right now. And it could have been a story you saw.
Yeah,
which is why you can't go back to find it.
Good point. Or I conflated it because it was posted. I didn't see that it was from Beverly Hills as she noted the location, and she had just been posting a bunch of pictures from Florida. So I may have in my mind said that was in Florida too, even though she said it was in Beverly Hills. So I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So Mike and Natalie, they will be on Happily Ever After. I'm trying to decide if I'm curious to see how it's done or not, because we know there has been so much frauding with their story and their timeline. Oh my God. When Sean said, I am trying to figure out this timeline, like there's something not making sense with this timeline. I'm like, even though she was talking about something different. I was like, as it relates to Mike and Natalie, yes, there is something off about the timeline.
A little off, but I don't think that is because of them. I think it's just because of your producers. So I guess
we know they did not get married on the 90th day. So,
which is fine. None of them do. Like, if you were to count, like when they got off, there's a whole lot that goes on. They don't always get married on the last day. They always get married on the day that they say that they're getting married as far as their timeline. And that could just be because they want to set a story of how it was like last minute or whatever.
And their story was dependent on this back and forth, down to the very last minute, down to the wire.
It's more dramatic to say, I only have one day left to be here, kind of bullshit. And putting the pressure on him, and him as cold feet is just very interesting.
That whole thing with mom and
and
mom asking Tamra to object to the wedding, and
I wouldn't be surprised if he had a conversation with his mom and that sent him spiraling to disappear, or they had a fight or something like that. Because having a fight right before a wedding would make me second guess if I really want this. Like, I'm better off. So he's probably thought, I'm better off sending her home and being miserable for a little bit and finding someone else than deal with being stapled down for the, whatever. Because now she's here. But
she's here,
and we'll have to see. It's so sad. Like, I think everyone's heart kind of hurt for Natalie again.
But at the same time, she's also kind of like a little bit crazy I say that with a grain of salt, because people are calling her crazy left and right. But I think the way that she communicates her feelings, like I'm not going to say her feelings are invalid, because I will never say that. Right. If she feels that she's not getting the attention from him, if she feels that she's not being cared for properly in that regard, like, then she's perfectly entitled to feel that way. If she feels that he's cheating on her left and right, there needs to be something and he's not, then what's he doing to make her feel that way? And is she overreacting? But that's a communication issue, right? I don't know if her insecurities, she doesn't communicate them very well, and she jumps to conclusions. I think, like the whole, did he go have a bachelor party? I don't think Tamra ever told her that that's what he was doing, but she maybe
I think Tamra was in the dark too.
I think she probably was like, maybe he went out, maybe he did this. Maybe he went out with friends for like a last night.
Yeah, I think she was speculating, because she probably went to her and said, do you know where he is? And she goes, well, it's the night before the wedding. Maybe he went for drinks with friends or something.
And then Natalie took that as gospel. Oh my God, he went and had a bachelor party, and she made these leaps in her.
Well, she did that the last time. But the problem is that being gone for 6 hours lets someone's mind race.
Yes. And it's problematic if I get it.
He even said, yes, I know it's shitty. Like, I think he's done all the owning up to it that he could, just to open it back up to talk about. But like, yeah, Mike, that was shitty. Like, I would be really mad at
the
you.
night before the wedding, you guys have a fight and you disappear for 6 hours. Like, that's problematic.
Right. And then come back to be like, well, I don't want to have a wedding.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, why not? What's wrong with you?
Like, if you just say, like, look, I just need some space. I love you, but I just need some space right now. But I love you. I'll be back. Like, that's what he needed to say. But it always comes back to the communication between the two. Like, it's so terrible. Like, they constantly need a third party to interpret for them.
I think they would be really good candidates for that, like, love language course. Oh. Because I think a problem is that Natalie expects love to be shown, or she wants love to be shown to her in a certain way, and Mike is not doing it.
Right. But does he know what? No,
because we usually don't communicate that. We usually don't stop and think, how do I want to be loved? And I know it's so corny.
Yeah, no, it's true though.
Are a true example of like how love languages and understanding each one's. Like for Mike, when he's feeling stressed, his thing might be to withdraw and go somewhere else and think about it. And Natalie may be one who's like me, who wants to talk and beat the horse to fucking death until we're in a good place. Those two don't work together.
Correct.
Because one's always trying to run away and the other person's chasing them and feeling more hurt.
She takes it personally when he leaves. I know I have in the past too, if you leaving is not about you, I always made it about me, right? Like if you're walking out, it's not, to me, I don't think it's because you need to clear your head and come back when you're more clear-headed. To me, it's, we're not worth you figuring this out. We're not worth it. I'm not worth it. And it goes back to all of those insecurities. So if that's her case, she needs to explain that to him and he needs to explain his way. Yeah, you're right. The love languages course or whatever.
I'm throwing a new show idea out for TLC, 90-day love language.
Oh.
Because what these people, some of them need is fucking counseling.
Yeah. Like what's the show?
It might help.
Marriage boot camp, reality.
Oh my God.
Camp. Like
I don't even know
for 90 days. They need that for 90 days. Specific.
I would actually watch that.
It
would feel fucking constructive.
Yeah.
But we only get to see a peek, right? And we only get to see like what we think is wrong with their relationship. But everyone on the stage, on this tell-all, that we're still couples, I say could definitely benefit from at least having some kind of couples retreat. Like, it doesn't have to be therapy. It doesn't have to be like about your problems or something, but some kind of bonding exercise.
I think any couple can benefit from quote unquote counseling. And you can also visit our sponsor, betterhelp.com, for 10% off. Anyway,
some people.
Yeah, I think it would be absolutely beneficial.
Yeah.
Like a retreat, something. I think any couple can benefit from that, even if you're not having, quote unquote marital problems or.
Right. I mean, shit. Some people have therapy before they get married. So
yeah. And everybody could benefit. Absolutely every single one of these couples could benefit. Learning how to communicate effectively, just communication lessons individually too, like learn how to, we're forced to take this stuff in the corporate world, right? And for our government jobs and stuff, like we have to take communication courses and trainings and stuff, right? To learn how to communicate.
Emotional, what is it called? Emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Like I took 5 courses on that to know how to like, I feel like to learn how to manipulate people. I know.
What, like, I think
At the end of it, I'm like, I know your feelings right now. I really understand. I'd be
I
so
know
upset
how
if
to-
that happened to me too. You should do this.
effective communication with difficult people or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Difficult conversation. All those fucking buzzword books.
Yeah.
One of them might help some of these people.
Yeah.
And I always want them to work because they've spent so much money and they spend so much time
Mhm.
building these relationships. And I feel like it might be harder because it's on camera.
Yeah.
Especially for the before the 90 days. They're meeting the person on camera. So Rebecca met Ziad on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Their whole getting to know each other with a few off days, whatever, was on camera. Him coming to America, planning their wedding, living together is on camera. Their wedding is on camera. What's like theirs?
What's left for them? Yeah.
Right. Of course, that's what you get when you sign up for the show. But
yeah.
but
But it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. They don't sign up for it because it's easy for them. They're signing up for it because they're all a little bit Looney Tunes. But they having the cameras there and especially on a show like this where there are a lot of production assisted scenes. That all has to be difficult, that's not going to be easy. It's not going to make your relationship easier. That's for sure.
No.
You have to have a strong relationship going into it. Is the filming the show going to break you up? Well, if it does, then you probably would have broken up anyway. It was just the show.
Or the stress was too much. So
yeah,
we get to see the rest tonight. I'm excited about that.
Yes.
In some sick way, I wanted to combine this conversation so we didn't have a cliffhanger. It comes in time. Because I'm pretty sure we'll get this out the day of. And so
this will be, this episode's coming out on Sunday. So
this is like your bullshit refresher on some of the stuff that happened.
Right.
So you can feel fresh and ready.
Fresh and ready for
tonight.
The new shit show. Yes. And so the part 2 will be airing tonight. I don't know if there's a new Bears All this week, but we are going to get you last week's Bears All and first episode of The Single Life out on Patreon. I think we're a week behind, but we will probably combine them and get you sort of a double episode.
It just took me a whole week to swallow Big Ed's episode.
To swallow Big Ed. Sorry.
And her mind races other places. I started it and I was like, I can't right now. Click.
Yeah. Like on the Patreon, you guys are going to get all of the material, just maybe not as on the exact timeline we wanted. There's been a lot going on. Like I mentioned earlier, I had my second round of Kybella this week. I was down for the count for a little while, for a day or so on that. I had the second shot of Pfizer last weekend, and I feel like I'm still feeling the effects of that this weekend. Feel like complete ass this weekend. Like I felt well enough to go out and do my run, but I couldn't do any of my strength exercises, and I'm supposed to do like those today, and I may not even be able to do like the active recovery. Like I just feel like bung, and
that's all right. We'll get episodes out.
Yeah.
We always do.
Yes, that's my point.
So I just need the oat milk to get here so I can have coffee so I can think for the day. So
you're doing this without coffee?
Yes, ma'am. This is all my pure energy.
Wow. Okay.
No, I usually don't depend on caffeine too much, but it is a really nice fucking additive for the day, I will say.
Yeah.
Best non-controlled substance ever.
Yeah. I actually need to go take my electrolyte hydration stuff because I think that's part of the stuff I got from Care of. So this, that's I think part of why I'm not feeling well. I don't think I'm hydrated enough. So I'm gonna go do all that, and I'm gonna get back to watching some TLC Bears All and Single Life, and we will back to you with that on the Patreon. That's patreon.com/the Fraudcast. Thank you guys for joining us over there, and thank you guys for joining us today to talk about the Tell-All. We will be back next week with Tell-All Part 2. We are the Fraudcast, and we're dumpster diving so you don't have to.